very, very much. Can everyone hear me, please? Just to be sure.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Great. As tour guides and researcher, we are always on the road. So I'm on the road somewhere, but I know I'm going to have this. So I'm also prepared. That's why I have my cap on. So good afternoon, everyone, to our mentor, Mr. Ikechi, our colleagues, our fathers, and everybody on this Zoom meeting. It's a pleasure and a very big honor to be here to share things that I have noticed and some of the things that I think that we can do better in Nigeria, particularly as it relates with festivals and tourism. Nigeria is so blessed that, every day a masquerade is coming out somewhere, maybe in Calabar. A deity is being worshipped somewhere in Oshun, and somewhere in Badagry, Zangbeto is coming out. Everything that has to do with our way of life, our culture, is a tourism product that we can not only sell, but that we can sell and get substantial revenue from. But we all know that despite, like I usually say, everything that we go to see in everywhere all over the world. I've been to 25 countries in Africa, and everything I go to see in all of these places all together can be found in Nigeria. We all know how blessed Nigeria is all over the 36 states. But it is now very bad that despite the fact that Nigeria is so blessed, Nigeria lacks effective and efficient tourism and festival architecture the way it should be. So I tell people most of the time that Nigeria does not lack, or Nigeria is not poor tourism-wise. But the problem we have is that our tourism in Nigeria is narrated poorly. Now, coming back to festivals, please, I want to be sure we can hear me, please.
I can hear you.
Yeah. So I'll try to do as possible to make sure that I pass out the message and make sure. Once again, my name is Sewedo Balogun from Badagry, Lagos State. I am the founder and the lead tourism consultant for Sewedo Tours, and I'm also a culture and heritage researcher, and also a Pan-Africanist. So this is like my field proper. And considering the number of people we have in Nigeria, considering the number of diverse culture and traditions we have in Nigeria, of diverse cuisines, lifestyle, Nigeria should be the most tourism-rich country in Africa. But it is so bad that even in West Africa, I don't think we are in top 5, even in our region. And one of the issues, so we are going to be looking at 4 different parts of this conversation. But one of the issues that we have in Nigeria is that we treat all festivals that we have in Nigeria as the same thing. But meanwhile, most of our tourism and most of our festivals can be classified under 4 different tourism structures. And they should and cannot be treated the same way. If not, we will never get it right. So the 4 different tourism structures that our festival falls under are, we have 1, sovereignty and dynasty festivals.
Repeat that, please.
Sovereignty and dynasty festivals.
Okay.
Yeah. And those are festivals like Doba in Kano and in Zaria, where we know that spectacle, royalty, and political history are the primary things that draw visitors to that festival. And that festival largely requires crowd management and accurate historical interpretation. And I'm sure that Mr. Ikechi will agree with me for that particular one. The second one is the agricultural and seasonal festivals, because not even all festivals are supposed to be done annually. Some festivals carry their dates naturally based on the seasons that we do them. And one very good example of seasonal or agricultural festival is the Agungu Fishing Festival and the New Yam festivals that we do in the East and some parts of even the Southwest also. Another festivals that we have, the third structure of the festival architecture we have in Nigeria is the spiritual and ritual festivals. This is what we have been selling the most, right? And I think that when harnessed properly, this is a gold mine that we are sitting on in Nigeria. So which are spiritual festivals? Spiritual festivals are the Osun Festival, and another example is the Eyo Festival in Lagos, which does also not have a specific date. So most of these festivals are also they are interwoven and intertwined because of their natures. And another major issues we have with our spiritual festival is that most of the time we fail to effectively interpret and fail to effectively separate the spiritual part of the festivals and the commercial part of the festivals. Because let's not forget that we're talking about economics here and festival. So in as much as to respect our culture and tradition, we also want to make money and generate revenue from celebrating these things. The fourth one is the cultural identity festivals, which particularly that we have done well for is the Calabar Festival. Another one that is also doing very well now is the Ojude Oba Festival. So the four architecture and type of festivals that I've listed, the first one being the sovereignty and dynasty festivals, the second one being agricultural and seasonal festivals, the third one being the spiritual and ritual festival, while the fourth one is cultural identity festival. Nigeria has more than 400 documented festivals that we do every year. I know it's even more than 800, but let me just say we have more than 400 documented festivals. And I'm going to give us a shocker. The Osun Osogbo Festival, for instance, every year attracts almost 250,000 visitors, sometimes up to 400,000 visitors to Osun. Now, let's assume.
You can confront them.
Can we hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. So let's assume that just out of the 500,000 people that come to Osun Osogbo Festival, each person spends just 15,000. If each person is spending 15,000, that means that for that single week that they do Osun Osogbo, it's 5 billion in a single week. And I know very well that we have people that spend up to millions in Osun Osogbo Festival. Now, let us look at Osun Osogbo. Let's look at the society and look at what they might be potentially generating from that festival. And yet, we don't have any significant thing to show that this is what is generated from this festival in terms of infrastructure, in terms of amenities, even in terms of effective organization of the next one. And I will give us a comparative festival, for instance, and that is the Fringe Festival in Scotland. The Fringe Festival in Scotland also generates almost the same thing, and they generate almost 400 million million euros from the Fringe Festival every year. And every year, the government uses that for major infrastructural development in the whole of Scotland, not just Osun or not just Osogbo now. And you can clearly see what they use this money for. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm following very well.
Okay. So I just brought that in for us to know what we can be generating from just one festival, and we have about 400 documented festivals in the country. So we are going to look at some of the issues that we have and some of the differences that is between our own festivals and the other festivals that seem to be doing well. One of the issues we have for our festivals and the things we need to be looking into is the accommodation deficit. Agungu, for instance, has no four-star hotel within 50 kilometers of the festival site. So visitors that want to attend most of the time need to sometimes even sleep in other states, Abuja particularly, or Sokoto. That is a major problem. The other problem we face for our festivals is adequate interpretation. Most of our festivals, we don't have multilingual guides, we don't have heritage briefs, we don't have cultural context for visitors to actually look at. So most of the time they just come, they look at the masquerade, they see the things, but there is no efficient information passage. And the problem with that is that it is a festival that somebody understands, that they can also refer other people or recommend other people to come and see. The third problem that we have here is our payment infrastructure. We also don't have a good payment infrastructure in Nigeria and in most of our festivals. Though we have been trying to make sure that we handle that, most of the time we want to do cash. And we know that most of our tourists, most of our visitors does not want to deal with cash. So we need to also understand the tourist behavior and see what will best fit every tourist that want to attend our festivals. And the fourth problem that we have is there is no post-festival economy, which is a major problem in Nigeria. So whenever we do our festivals, for most of the festivals, I know there are those that have a structured post-festival economy. But for most of our festivals, when they finish the festival, it is how they will share money. They want to look at next, and they keep quiet until the next 6 months, which is not good enough. We need to have proper tourism strategy that generates revenues for not just that period, but for good 52 weeks through branded merchandise, documentary licensing, academic heritage tourism, and consistent talkability about this festival so that people can always look forward to these festivals every time. And the fifth problem that we face in most of our festivals is the ethical crisis at the heart of the Nigerian festival tourism, particularly between tour operators and domestic tour guides. Let's not forget that one of the rewards that we get for is made money from the festival. The people, the practitioners, the local sellers also made money from this festival. But most of the time, there's a very big gap because most of the big tour operators, particularly the ones in Lagos and Abuja, and sometimes even foreign operators, capture and get majority of the funds and revenues from our festival before it gets to the community. And that is a major problem. Because most of the time, the host community gets the footfall, they get the traffic, and they get the disruption that happens in their communities. But the financial benefits flow somewhere, and that is a problem. That is not sustainable tourism. That is the extraction of a wearing cultural custom, because it is a major problem. And that is why sometimes you see indigenes of these communities wanting to cause problems for these festivals because they think that even this thing that is our own, we are not making money from it. It is visitors who are making money from it. And because of that, they want to jeopardize the efforts of the people that package these things sometimes. And that is a very big problem. So I did a comparative analysis of something that our neighbor here is doing very well. And that is WIDA, Benin Republic. And I'm using WIDA as a case study. And in this case study, I'm comparing both WIDA and Badagry because they share the similar position. They share similar positions in transatlantic slave trade. And we also know how important it is for our people in diaspora to want to reconnect with their roots and to want to walk the path their ancestors walked. But what is that thing that we are also not doing right? Are you with me? How many minutes do I have more, sir?
Your minute is finished, but go ahead. I like the point you're making.
Okay. Now, Badagry and Wida, we are literally the same thing. The slave ships, even Badagry even sold more, which is not a good thing, sold more slaves than Wida. Now, let's remember that both Badagry and Wida are recognized under the UNESCO Slave Route Project. Both carry the same international heritage, and both is celebrated as a UNESCO site globally. So, Badagry is not lacking that recognition. We all have the recognition. But what Badagry is lacking is what Benin Republic decided to build around. And that is Wida, the slave route. If you go to the slave route in Wida, nobody needs to tell you before you feel welcomed, before you relate with the story, before it resonates with not even just your mind, but your spirit. Every of the sites in Wida has significant interpretation. The environment speaks to why that place is there. It is emotionally coherent, it is structurally managed, and you have trained and certified guys that operate on that site. Bilingual guides. Data is properly collected. You get tickets everywhere you go to. Benin Republic has been able to channel that efficiently, and that is why whenever they celebrate the Vodun Festival in Wida every year, they generate billions of dollars. Not naira, billions of dollars. In 1992, their government had a decree where they did the first Vodun, that's the Vodun Festival, which is held every year. And that festival has been drawing a lot of people into that place. That is just from Wida. Now, imagine Nigeria having 400 documented festivals and the things we can achieve economy-wise and even for sustainable tourism. Benin Republic as a whole is just about 13 to 17 million people. Lagos alone has more than 30 million people. And that's the same thing Ghana has understood when in 2019, they started doing the year of return, where they generate almost 1.9 billion from every 12 months, just from the year of return, apart from other festivals that they do. So if we are able to and we want to do it well, we also have to consider environmental sustainability in the sense that we have to access how many visitors a festival site can absorb. We need to look at the damages it can cause on the ecology of the place. We need to look at how many people can be in that place. We need to look at conservation management that we need to put in place. Because despite the fact that we want everybody, there are things we need to consider for these things to work. So let me leave you with the fact that if we want to do something practical and something that is true, the 5 things Nigeria must do is not things that are cake, but there are things that we know, but we have not been able to just put in place efficiently. And one of them is Festival Tourism Atlas. That is a national registry of every festival within the tourism space, infrastructure assessment, and community readiness core. We need to build it. The second one is Festival Infrastructure Fund. The Festival Infrastructure Fund is a capital expenditure for accommodation, interpretation, sanitization, and digital connectivity at least the top 100 festivals we do in Nigeria. The third one is Festival Guide Certification Program, where we just don't have anybody interpreting our information and our stories. But we have trained professionals, guides in specific cultural knowledge of these festivals who are bilingual. The fourth one is Diaspora Festival Pass. Diaspora Festival Pass. Something we should have for even our partners who are not Nigerian, our foreign partners. And the last one being an IP framework for festival content. This one is very, very, very important because, like I said, communities need to own the licensing right to their own imagery, not media agencies. So we need to meet with these communities. We need to be able to separate the rituals that are for devotees from the commercial values that visitors are open to. So these are not radical. I have listed 5 things now that we need to do for festival tourism to generate the revenue we should. One is Festival Tourism Atlas. The second one is the Festival Infrastructure Fund. The third one is the Festival Guide Certification. The fourth one is the Diaspora Festival Pass. And the fifth one is the IP framework for festival content. Because, like I've said, Nigeria is a country of 220 million people. Even without foreign visitors, we can generate trillions of naira from our festivals if it is well documented, if it is well done, if it is thoughtful, and if efficient and effective plan goes into it. So thank you very much. I'll stop here for now. And sorry I took